the start of Waterside B. It is 17.5 miles and it is a downriver and then upriver. I say river, it's on a canal, but the water is still really high. So the upstream side of this is about to be absolutely brutal.
First up, the battle for the overall win and fastest K2 time. Billy Butler and Jon O'Grady. They took the vet record at this race last year.
That was a bad start.
They could be right at the top, in spite of a bad start. This is Tyler Kinder and Sam Dickson, a very quick crew of junior boys. More speedy junior boys, here's Freddie Heard and Oli Mazur. They were just 1 minute behind Tyler and Sam at Waterside A. A senior men's crew, George Durden and James Walkinton, went 1 and 2 at DW last year in K1s. Today is all about getting time in the boat together. Finally, Alex Lane and Magnus Gregory, a mixed crew. They're the last to start, hoping to get a clean run, and they're frequently right up there with the top men's crews, so they have a great chance to take today's fastest time.
Reporting with me today from Newbury, I have Freya Peters. Freya is a former junior world medalist in Marathon K2, and she used to hold the Waterside B record for junior ladies K2 until 2023, and Freya is a trainee journalist. All right, Freya, you've done this race before. The water is really high today, the flow is fast, it's gonna be brutal on the way back and do a headwind as well. What would your approach be? What should the paddlers be doing today?
I think with the flow being so high, some paddlers are considering doing quite a lot more running on the way back. Personally, that would never be my approach because I'm not so much of a land animal, but I think that particularly for Alex and Magnus, that might be a real option given how fast they move on the land. I think other things to consider are that people are going to want to be portaging those low bridges, and maybe stringing together a couple of portages if they're super close together might be a valuable approach. I think the other thing as well is with pacing. It's easy to feel like when you get to Aldermaston that you're halfway, but you're not halfway because you've got to come back against the wind and the flow.
Do you think Alex and Magnus are going to get that right? Are they your favorites today?
We know that they run really fast. We know that Alex knows where she's going, they know the course. Yeah, they're my favorites for today.
Here's battle number 2. Who will have the fastest K1 time of the day? Andy Burkett is a top contender. Strategically, he's in a pretty ideal position. Sean Hart, starting 30 seconds behind Andy, will give him a perfect view of the competition. Finally, battle number 3. These two junior boys finished just 3 seconds apart at Waterside A.
We're down at Woolhampton now. So it's a couple miles up from the turn down at the bottom in Aldermaston. We've had one surprise retirement. Unfortunately, that is Brindy Kreft due to injury. The portages are really, really muddy and slippery today, and there is a lot of running required. You can see just how fast the canal is flowing behind me. So it's a great time on the way down and not so fun on the way back. We have seen a lot of paddlers taking this portage really, really long. So lots of extra running today. That might advantage Alex and Magnus.
Checking in on the K1 race, battle number 2, it looks like Andy and Sean are still within about a minute of each other at Woolhampton.
I started with the K2 with Billy and John. I thought I'd have a nice good watch with them, which worked out pretty well for a while. Caught Sean eventually after a couple of Ks.
Yeah, I think about 4K in, and then it was 3K1s for a good while. Billy and John kind of hanging slightly behind for a bit. They kind of monstered through at the turn. I ended up getting dropped.
Yeah, they were very impressive at the turn. Like, I was with them and I was like, this is fine, this is great. I'm not working very hard and I'm sitting on their wash. And then literally a minute later they were gone. I couldn't even keep up with them. So Sean caught me again on the way back up.
Yeah, I took a bit out of you, I think, on the long runs.
Yeah.
And then when I got there was dead. And I think there was about 4K where neither of us wanted to do any work whatsoever.
top contenders in the K2 race are passing through Woolhampton at almost the exact same pace. They still have 6 miles left of fighting the flow and the wind until we finally know what will be the final finishing order.
All right, George and James, tell us how your race went.
Going down was really, really fun. We probably should have had a wave break on our boat, I think, at some points. We were going under. But yeah, it was really, really comfortable going down. Coming back was a different story. We haven't spent a hell of a lot of time together in the boat, so each race we're doing, we're starting to feel a lot more comfortable. Boat's starting to run really well.
And are you training together to get that sort of run of the boat coming together more?
No, we're not doing too much together. We're mainly training by ourselves independently during the week, and then coming together on the watersides and then doing some paddles on the Thames. But we will start ramping time in the boat together.
And you mentioned going down, it was going very nicely. Tell us about the way back up. Some crews did a lot of running, others chose to paddle more. What was your strategy to cope with the flow and the headwind?
Yeah, so we're maximising time in the boat, so we discussed before we weren't going to do any running, and I think both of us were looking at the pace on the way back up, thinking we could be running here, but yeah, we stuck to the boat. Yeah, it was hard work, even when we're overtaking canoes, when we're in the flow and they're out of the flow and the closing speed is tiny. It's hard work, but yeah, it's good training, digging deep.
And what are you looking to sort of take from this race going forward into CD and eventually DW?
We know we run well with the flow. We're not going to have to paddle upstream again, probably till after DW, unless we overshoot at Westminster. So that's a positive to take from it. No more upstream paddling.
Just for me and well, for our boat, I think it's just about clocking up the mileage now. I've done a hell of a lot of running this winter, not so much paddling, so it's about bringing it all back into the boat now. So my paddling's ramping up again now. So we'll see if that fitness is transferable into the boat.
Yeah, UK of, I think, neither of us wanting to do much leading. A few muttered your leads. Sat with a couple of other boats, and then at the penultimate portage, Andy got in and I kept running.
Yeah, Sean pulled a sneaky on me. We were running sort of just behind each other. I jumped in and he carried on going. I thought, oh, crap, I've lost it now.
Yeah, we got to the Swift footbridge and I just got in on one side, got out on the other, kept running. And held a bit of a gap to the finish, but I don't think enough to get that 30 seconds back that I lost at the start. So yeah, well done to Andy.
Really good fun. A lot more fun than previous Bs. You never know how B is going to go. It's either it can be really enjoyable sometimes, or it can be the absolute worst race of the season.
And Sean, you're training for DW K1, is that right?
Yeah, that's the one. Training down in Bristol at the moment, so getting some miles in for that, and looking forward to the run up to the race.
Alex and Magnus, fastest time of the day. How do you feel like your race went?
Yeah, I'm pretty happy with how it went. It's obviously flowing quite a lot, so on the way back we decided to run a couple of times, and to be honest, it was really hard work. So we did it a couple of times, and then we're like, oh, we're just going to brave the flow and paddle. You did really well, and there were some big jets coming in, and I think we handled them quite well.
Yeah, we set off as late as we could because we didn't want to hit too many washes, especially in the flow. So actually I think that worked really well today. We hardly hit anybody, and that I think really worked in our favour because nobody needs to battle flow and climbing a wash. So that went perfectly.
Great. And I noticed you were both wearing trainers. Was running part of the plan in advance?
So when I did it with Dan Seaford back in 2019, I wore spikes, or like without the spikes. So they're cross-country spikes with a rubber sole, so really grippy. We've both been running the past couple of years, so they're actually just what we had in the cupboard.
Yeah, they're quite low profile, not much sole, so fits in the boat okay. And they're what we're going to wear for the race, so we thought we'd use them for training and the Waterside series as well.
Great, and tell us about your training and your prep. I know that you guys are planning to do the DW. How's it going? What have you guys been up to in between these races?
Yeah, I think it's going quite well. We're trying to paddle 4 times a week. We've taken a bit of time off paddling, so we kind of started in the summer and then slowly ramped up into it, and it's been pretty good. We've trained on our own a fair bit, but it's really nice to come out to these races, and on the weekend we see people out on the canal, which has been lovely.
Yeah, it has been really good. So we racked up long paddles back in December, trying to get some mileage in, and then have kind of used the Watersides then to sharpen up. Rather than trying to build mileage later on, we've kind of built the fitness and then built the speed on top of it. And that's worked quite nicely.
Great. And you've both raced at the world level before and then taken some time away from the sport. What's brought you to doing the DW now?
I've always wanted to do it, and eventually got worn down by it's something I've wanted to do for a while, and it seemed like a good time to do it. So why not, really?
I actually found a picture of me when I was 8 supporting my dad doing his DW back then with my eldest brother. And so actually I'd call myself more of a DW paddler than ever what I did at Marathon Worlds or anything else. This is my community far more, and I just love being back. It's great.